Hi traders, so what happened on Wall Street today? I think you're going to find this video very interesting. I'm going to take a few minutes to show you what it looks like to get your head literally handed to you by the market. If you watched yesterday's video, you've probably learned by now that I'm triggering right on the bands and I don't try to take an entire trigger or an entire trade with one trigger. I'm going to kind of scale my way into it and I'm going to sell into the strength. So here's what happened in the morning. I'll go through this rather quickly. The interesting part is over here, the part I have covered up. So I triggered long here at, that looks like 79.75, then 77.75. And like I mentioned yesterday, I'm usually selling in the 22 period moving average, which I did take half of it here. And for some strange reason, I left a runner on and I wanted to sell somewhere up here. My orders looked like they disappeared. I shut the platform down because it was running kind of slow. So long story short, this order right here, I just traded out of it. So whatever profit I took on that, I gave part of it back here. Then the same thing that I did over here, I didn't think it was going to get down to the bands, and it didn't. So I went long here at 75.75, and then I get it at 76.5. So I'm buying up on this one, which is a little bit different than what I was doing here. I was buying down. I just felt like the market had bottomed here, and it did. So I didn't want to make the same mistake twice, and I got out right at the high of this move at 79.25. So my exit there was pretty darn good. Now with this strategy, there is one thing that is going to cause me a lot of pain, and that's one of those moves where you get into one of those grinding downtrends. I'll show you what it looks like on the Russell. That just goes on and on and on, where you feel like if you go long this, you feel like you're the only buyer in the world out there. And that's definitely how I felt today. So let's take a quick look at the beginning of this trade. Market comes down, same thing I'm doing over here. I'm duplicating here. Long at 74, long again at 72. Then the market firms up a little bit. And you can't see it now because my orders disappeared for some reason, but I had a partial exit here at 73.25, I think it was. And as the market came up here, I thought it had more potential to move up to perhaps the 22 here. And it didn't do that, so I definitely regret not getting out of a partial here. So as the trade went on, this is where that grinding downtrend started. And as you can see, the market did turn here, so I got a cluster of buy triggers that went off here. My timing was really good in this area, and it did firm up, and I think it came back to about my break-even point here, but I didn't get out of it. Again, I made the mistake of not getting out of it. So going down the line, same thing happened again. I was looking to catch the turn of the market, so I got a cluster of buy triggers in this area. So right about this point, when we get over to here, I figure I'm going to try this one more time. See if I can catch the turn of the market. So I sized up one more time down here. And at this point, I'm like, if this doesn't work, I'm just going to have to get out of this because at this point, the red number's starting to grow pretty big. So I'm figuring if it goes below this point, what I'll do is I'll trade out of it and then I'll be able to size up somewhere down here to maybe try to make some of that money back or maybe generate a profit on the day. So at this point, I was down pretty good and I was feeling some pain. So sure enough, the market did go to a new low below that last entry, and I had my finger on the trade out button. As soon as I started that, I had a pretty good idea what was going to happen. And sure enough, I didn't get out near the low. I didn't get out around the low. I got out at the low tick of this move. The market bottomed down here at 61.75, I believe it was, and my exit was right on 61.75, the exact low of that move. This isn't the first time this has happened to me, and probably not the last. And based on the experience that I've had with this before I started reaching for that trade out button, I loaded the next order because having been through this once, you learn to recognize it when you go through it a second time. So here's what happened after that. As soon as the market bottomed here, I knew what was going to happen. So this is where I increased my size right here. I'm buying into the strength up here. And we got a little bit of fluctuation down here. We can move this out of the way now. A little bit of fluctuation down here. And the market looked like it was ready to go into a nice bounce, which was kind of what I was expecting it to do, which eventually happened over here. No such luck. Needless to say, I got a pretty good sized position on down here. And right up here, take these orders off, right at there was right where I was about break even. So I had my order parked one tick below there. I was going to get out of the majority of this trade. One tick below break even. I think I would have been down about like $100 or a couple $100 at that point. So I was willing to take that if the market offered it to me. I just wouldn't give it to me. So finally, let's go over to the ones over here. This is what I did. Just drew my support line down there. And right when we got to this point, I just knew that this was going to go down quite a bit ways more. So at this point, I reversed. And then once I did that, since I had to reload my screen, this isn't going to show up, but I had an order parked down here at 60.00. When it came down to here to 62, I didn't want to take the chance of this low holding, which it did. So I raised my order up to 62 even. Unfortunately, it came back and triggered me. And that's where I ended the day, up 2,000. The only way I can describe what happened here was just one hell of a battle. I got my butt beat over here. I got my head handed to me. But you come to realize when you trade in this market long enough that sooner or later the market is just going to kick your butt. And that's what happened to me today. But at least I had, the resolve, let's call it, the resolve to stay in the game and fight the market at this point. And I sold it short, or I reversed here with what I can describe as just a huge position. And fortunately it worked out. I was tempted to go along here again, but I decided not to. Since I was ahead of the game up here, I finished up the day up 2,000. I didn't want to press my luck since trading had become so hard down here. So what happened on Wall Street today? The market is down. I got my butt beat, but I waged war with the market and made it back. Some days are just going to be like this. So hope it helps. Until next time, have a good weekend.